Hey Vixen, I'm going to show you how we set all the stats, how we lay them out to be made. So, we get the Word doc, and so we have to turn this basically into like a spreadsheet. So, I do it a couple ways, but let me show you what the easiest one. So, usually it's pretty easy if you want to copy and paste. But there's a certain format it has to be in. So, copy and paste, hit that, looks good. Yeah, it looks good. So let me show you how it has to look for it to work. So basically the column we use, or not the column, the sheet we use for the stats is this one. So it has to have the title of the stat first, uh, what the first stat name is, what the actual stat is, second, third, like that. So they all have to be this has to be in the same cell, the title of the stat and the stat itself, and then the title right here of the whole stat. And here you'll see this should reflect it. So this is the first stat name with that stat, second stat, third stat. So it has to be like this. If there's spaces or if it doesn't line up right, it won't look right. So you can double check, which will be good. So what we do is they send us the doc in Excel. We copy it, and then we'll copy this. And you see this has a 1 next to it. We have to delete that 1 because if we have a 1, let's say this said 1, the stat would then look like this, like 1, and it wouldn't look right on the actual stat. So when you copy these, it'll usually try to keep numbering them like they're numbered there. So whatever, you just take it off. What I would do, what you can do if you want, you can copy all the titles first, or you can copy all the stats first. It doesn't matter. For me, it's kind of easier to copy one and then pick, because there's always going to be 3 stats, so just 3 spaces, and you can just start copying along. And then for copying these stats, same thing. Boom, boom. Something you have to be mindful of is, at least with the Excel I'm using, when it sees numbers, it tries to format them as numbers, so it puts a 0 there, but there's no 0 here, and it's just extra space we don't need. The 0 doesn't matter. So you kind of have to make them text, and then when you make them text, you can actually edit them. You basically need them to match how it looks like on the sheet they send us. So there we go. And another thing is, you notice how here the stat name and the data point were in the same cell, but in here there's one here and then the other one there. That's fine, because what I do is, and I'll send this to you, I have just a little formula where you can just put them all together. Yeah. Yeah, so you can just do trim. Well, I'll do this. Okay, so now this is the formula we want, and we can leave it like this. It's great. So I'll just have this like all the way down to like 100. Obviously, we're not gonna have 100 stats. Yeah, so as you're copying along, sometimes the stat is here, sometimes it's here, and then obviously you have to format it. So it's the same as you have to like take the zeros out, so you have to make it a text. Like you just kind of have to constantly be doing that. Let me see what. Let's look at this one. So here I kind of messed up because there's two spaces. Like the title will go here, and if it's not spaced correctly, it'll mess everything up. So we have to make sure it's all spaced, how it's supposed to be. And I don't know if you saw that, but if you cut it, it like gets confused. Like if you cut a cell and then you paste it in, it gets confused. So the easiest thing is to like copy. If you mess up, copy it directly from the sheet and put it back in, and then delete and whatever manually. Okay, easy enough. Once we get to the players, we only put, even though they send us like their names, their full names, we only do their last names, just for space on the art. So have to delete their first names, keep their last names. And then some of these stats are really long, like biggest gap between SLG and expected SLG this season. Like, okay. And sometimes they don't fit on the stat we make in After Effects. So if you're going through the stats and they're not fitting, if you go through a stat and it like doesn't fit, I think there's one like here that doesn't fit. But if it doesn't fit, what you can do is just make the name shorter. A lot of times you can just abbreviate stuff. Like this one, batting average, you just change to AVG. And even if that's still too long, you can just take away this season. That's kind of implied. So just delete this season and then the stat should fit. Another thing we want to delete is these colons, because they do it here so you like see the title and the stat, but in the way we do it, you already know. So once you're done pasting everything in, you just want to do like Control Find, which is like Command F. You want to find the colon and just replace it with nothing. Just do replace all. You can also do that with the averages. You want to do like average, or averages. It's not here, but yeah, averages, and just replace it with AVG. Yeah, it's all good. So once you've copied everything over, sorry, once you've copied everything over here, you want to go here, grab this. I would put it in a notepad just to not mess with the formatting. Put a notepad, copy it, because now it's just like all text. And then you can copy this into, like, let me just do, yeah, I'll just do like the first. Just copy, you're going to copy the whole list. You're going to copy it over. Come on. You're going to copy it over into the sheet. And what I do is I delete this. Manually delete everything. Right. So what I do is I manually delete this row, and then I paste in my new stats. And if it says value, that's not an issue. Like if it says it at the end of the stats, because we only have 2, it's looking for like 3, 4, the 5th, the 6th stat. So if we don't have that, that's not a big deal. If it's doing it like in the middle of stats, then that might mean there's like something going on. But yeah, so as you can see, like we pasted it in, now it looks okay. OBP, boom, 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 so that looks good. When it's not like synced up right, when like the spacing's wrong, or maybe there's an extra space somewhere, you'll definitely see it, because you'll see like a player name or like the title of a stat like in another row where it shouldn't be. And now you just go back in here and you try to figure out like why it's doing that. Maybe there's an extra space, because there can only be one space in between. Like there can't be a space at the start, or if there's 2 words, it'll put that second word where the stat's supposed to be, so it's only like 1 word, a space, and the stat, and that's how it does the formatting. So that's how it has to be. So once you pasted it here and then like double check that this looks good, you want to go into the 4 data points, scroll down to the 138th row, which is where all the stats are. Should look the same. You don't have to double check anything. I really just double check the Excel sheet. I'll double check the Excel sheet once it's all copied over. Make sure all the stats are accurate and they're the right stats for the right like title, and they all look good. I'll double check it there, and then I'll double check it here to make sure like everything is in the right spot, like not against the doc list, but just make sure like it's all lined up right and it doesn't look weird. Then you go here to the data points. You don't really have to do much here. Should all be the same. Should end. Also just make sure it ends on like the stat they give us. Like if it's 52 stats, it ends on number 52. Oh, what you have to do over here though is we also set the colors for the bottom of the stat. Like right here, these like the team colors. And you only have to do these 2 rows. It fills out the other ones automatically. So for this weekend, it's the Marlins and the Dodgers. And I also sent you the team color. So this is the first color for the Marlins. You put it in the first slot. Second color for the Marlins, put it in the second slot. And then Dodgers, I'll put it right here too. So on this part of it, you put like what stat corresponds with what team, and they tell us too. So here it says Guardians team hitting, so these are all Guardian stats. Guardian player hitting, still Guardian stats. And then on the 30th, still Guardians. On the 35th stat is White Sox. So from there, White Sox all the way down, it's all like White Sox colors. So what you want to do is go grab, let's say this is the Guardian colors. You want to control. And so sometimes to copy stuff, you can copy stuff by like scrolling it down like this. But when it's a number, when it thinks it's a number, it'll add to it. And obviously if you're changing the number, it's going to be a different color. So you have to actually like copy it. So you can just copy, post it into like where it's supposed to be. And then all the stats that are supposed to be like Guardian stats will have the same colors, and then you just do that same thing with the other one. It's easy enough. Once that's all set, then you can go into here. I would go to the first frame, and it should like be the stat you're looking for.